Alright, you're watching the Deprogramming Hour, and we're here with Miss Candice Burridge.
Hello.
Puppeteer extraordinaire.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about some new projects. We have worked together on many projects in the past.
The first one was the System of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather. That
Yes,
one went up in 2008.
Edgar Allan Poe.
It was an Edgar Allan Poe story about an insane asylum in France. John did the music. We also did the Facts in the Case of M. Valdemar, which is another Poe story about hypnotism, and John did the music for that as well. And then there was the music for Gwen Dean's motion picture Puppets, which was John's first working with me in kids music. So he's very diverse. He doesn't just do like adult dark music, but he's totally captured adorable, appropriate kids music as well. And it's very tempting as a puppeteer to want to work with someone like that.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. So now what I want John to do is write music for the Alice in Wonderland. And we're going to be doing that on stage with puppets, masked dancers, and shadow puppets. So marionette puppets, shadow puppets, and masked dancers, except for Alice. Because I wanted to separate Alice from the puppet world, from this other universe that she's in by being the only normal one. So she doesn't have a mask on, but everybody else is still in this fantasy realm that she's not completely a part of. And so John's now doing music for Alice in Wonderland. And we started off with a festival piece that is going to be performed at the Theater for the New City on May 25th at the Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. And we're going to do Alice and the Caterpillar. I, of course, have my collective works of Lewis Carroll, and it's got all the pictures from the original story in there, and I think that's great. So I've been using that as a guide for the art aesthetic of the piece. I don't want to mess too much with the aesthetic. And for the Alice and the Caterpillar scene, we need two characters. So I have sketch drawings. I don't know what happened to the other one. Here it is. Of the puppets, pretty much to scale, and I want to keep them really small. So the Alice and the Caterpillar are both very small puppets. This is Alice with no clothes on. That's the structure of the puppet that's underneath. And I have to have that first, but I also have, and it doesn't need the other arm, I'll get there. This is Alice with her clothes on. And so she's going to have layers of garments on this one teeny tiny puppet. So the costuming for her should be fantastic, and we're definitely going to go all the way.
What are you going to make them out of?
Well, I'm going to make, I debated this for quite a while. I have a structure and pieces of Alice that I've been placing on this sheet to keep them to scale, sculptures of each body part, but we're not going to make them out of clay. We were going to do molds before, and now we're not doing molds anymore, so we're going to start all over again and make them out of magic sculpt with classic marionette jointing with the hinges. This is the concept of the full production, and I thought that the most captivating image that would show the different levels of the puppetry was this one. In this image, it's Alice discussing with the three cards, and there are puppeteers dressed in camouflage as in shrubbery in this particular scene, but in different scenes the puppeteers would be camouflaged differently. And then Alice with no mask, and then the Queen of Hearts would be the only other human in the image, and that would be a dancer with a mask on, and she would be the Queen of Hearts coming in the background. So it kind of just gives a good general scale of what's going on as a larger picture of the entire production.
And this is like a new concept to not have them dressed in black and dress them like
well,
the background.
It's not a new concept. It's been done before in different ways, and all puppeteers find different ways of, if the puppeteer is visible, of hiding the puppeteer. I don't always like hiding the puppeteer. When we did System of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather, I had the puppeteers dressed like lunatics, so they looked like just anybody else. But they would be doing the job of a puppeteer instead of speaking like an actor. And in this one, I thought it would be best to camouflage them as part of the set. And I thought that was a more interesting choice. If I dressed them in black and then had a very colorful background, it would stand out more and be more intrusive to the full image than to have them camouflaged cleverly. Right. These are for the Old Father William poem. They're not cut out yet, but it's the youth from the front perspective and the side perspective, and then Old Father William from the front perspective and the side perspective. And they're both going to be quite mobile. I just wanted a little bit of diversity to express the poem. They're pretty funny looking, and I'm probably going to ask you to do backgrounds, Katharine, if I can somehow. I don't know if I'm going to have a projector. A shadow puppet is like a cutout that you move around on a screen with light from a source, and you just see the shadow. You can do in-color shadows. I'm going to do these in black and white, just because I think they're okay, black and white, fun characters as it is, and it reminds me more of the book when they're in black and white. They work, they're going to have holes in them. All this is going to be cut out in certain spots. I haven't quite worked out the face yet. And then it gets backed up with clear plastic to strengthen the puppet so it doesn't get weak with all the cutting. And then I attach homemade rods out of hangers, clothing hangers, wire coat hangers that nobody else in the world loves. They're great for puppetry. Save all your coat hangers and make shadow puppets. Or anything. Wire's great. And then this is Old Father William. I love him the most, though. I love the image of the jolly fat guy. He's kind of got like a commedia dell'arte stance, like Arlecchino, and I want them to be very dancey, and I want them to be very kind of like classic theater postures. And I want to play a lot with their relationship and try to make the poem as funny as possible. I'm a big fan of humor. So this is my little hookah that I found on St. Mark's that I'm thrilled because I'm going to have Alice and the caterpillar be about 6 inches tall. And it's wonderful because I don't have to make it. I think I'm going to replace the hose for reasons that I won't discuss on cable access, but that's not what my hookah looks like.
Very nice. You were on our show before with the Dr. Feather.
With Sister of Dr. Charm, Professor Feather.
And you had made the puppet that you were...
Zen made that one. Zen Mansley made the life-size puppet. He also made the cat that we were using.
But you were the puppeteer.
I puppeteered it, but Zen made the puppets. He's very talented. He's a great sculptor.
Tell us about your career as a puppeteer. That's very unique.
Oh. Yeah, it's fun. I went to the University of Connecticut. They have a degree program there specifically for puppetry. And then I came to New York and I got hired at the Swedish Cottage Marionette Theater, and I've been working there for about 7 years now.
That's prestigious.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it is, but it's really fun. And I think that's what makes it really great, is that we get to build shows, entire productions on a regular basis where everybody on staff is collaborating and working together to put new shows together. We have repertory shows that we bring back from the past, but I think everybody's favorite time is when we're building a new show. And so I do that all the time there, and it's something that I really enjoy doing on my own to try to get my own visions out there.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing Little Miss Muffet's Monster Sitting Service, which is a really fun show. I love doing it. Molly, the lead character, is on roller skates. And it's the first time I've ever used a puppet that got to skate around on stage, and we have some larger-than-life puppets. I don't know how much I should say about that show, other than it's fantastic and everybody should come see.
Okay.
But I will tell a story that is adorable.
Okay.
Last week, we had a big PBS event. PBS Kids came, and it was like all staff at the cottage. And this little boy showed up dressed in a robot eyeball monster costume that he made himself. Now, the reason why that's endearing to us at the Swedish Cottage is because there happens to be a fight scene at the end of the play between a robot and an eyeball monster, and he loved the scene so much he wanted to come back on his birthday wearing his robot eyeball monster homemade costume, and he had like a suit of armor and this like orange hat with his eyeball dangling in front of his face, and it's stuff like that. Or when we do Pippi Longstocking, and then like the girls show up dressed like Pippi Longstocking all over the place. But this was particularly special because you can't go get a robot eyeball monster costume anywhere.
Yeah.
He had to make it, and it was so cute. That's the kind of stuff that makes me really happy. I wanted to mention all the wonderful friends of mine who are helping out with this production. for Alice in Wonderland Caterpillar Scene at the Theater for the New City for the Lower East Side Festival. I'm going to be directing and playing a puppet, as well as Pam Sinisa, the co-writer, Roy Chang, the tech master, Julia Darden, the voice of Alice, Michael Sanders is a puppeteer, Kervin Peralta, puppeteer, G.V. Monaldo, puppeteer, Litsa Colin is our costume master and a wonderful artist, as well as David Zen Mansley, who is pretty much going to be our sculptor. I'm also designing the shadow puppets. And John Vomit, of course, the composer who always does wonderful music for everything weird I ask him for. And he's quite punctual. I highly recommend hiring him.
Good. Thank you, Candy.
Thanks, John.
Good night.